on YouTube.
Yeah. And then you can just upload it.
Right. That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
People have problems finding the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And good morning and welcome into the Wednesday morning viewpoint for this Wednesday morning, September 10th, 2025. I'm your host, Randy Williams. And as I have been mentioning throughout the week, our guest this morning is no longer scheduled. He's here, Mr. Johnny Skip Moss III. Good morning,
Good
Mr.
morning,
Moss.
man. Good
How
morning,
are
man.
you?
I'm doing well. Doing well. Glad to be here this morning.
Good. I guess first, congratulations is in order.
Right, right.
How you feel about having the lead?
Well, we started from scratch, so you just you don't have a lead. It's 0-0. It's first quarter, so but I feel great about obtaining the most votes in the initial process, but we're not resting. We're still working hard, and we gotta get some more votes to get over the hump. So we're excited. We feel good. I felt that my message was starting to resonate with the citizens,
Mm.
but we're not resting.
Well,
We gotta go.
you have a laid back style, and I've heard people say, well, he's not as aggressive as I thought he would be, but that's not your style, huh?
That's not my style. I'm a very methodical, data-driven, analytical thinker. So I can make tough decisions, but I just don't portray that aggressiveness. And I think that's what we need right now. We need level-headed, a sense of calm leadership for Selma. We've got a lot of issues in Selma, but just be certain that I look at the data. I pray before I make a decision.
Mm.
I assess everything, and I'm really methodical in my decision making.
So what is your core message?
A core message is unifying Selma.
Mm.
We've got to unify city government and build trust with the citizens and within the city government. And that means city council, mayor relationship, the employees, the city employees, and then back to the citizens and ensure that we deliver those results. But we can't do it unless we are unified.
Mm. Now, before you decided to run, and since you've been running, um, have you had any kind of a sense of frustration with uh, the direction in which Selma's been going?
Yes, and I feel that you know and there's progress being made, in certain regards. But I just think that the city was bottlenecked for 5 years
Mm.
because of the mayoral and the city council's relationship.
Hmm.
Just think if our city government was on the same page with a shared vision, a shared agenda, just think how far we would be within our city.
Hmm.
And so, I want to bring that, and I talk about unity, and people say, well, how are you going to be able to do it? It has to work. It has to be intentional.
Mm.
We've got to ensure that it works because we've seen the divisiveness, we've seen the distrust, and quite frankly, that's why we're here now. We've got to instill quality services to our citizens. We've got to be on the same page so we can create a better quality of life for our citizens. Um, Workforce development, we've got to get our citizens to the table to work. We've got unemployed and underemployed citizens here in Selma. So it's very important that we upgrade their skill set so we can attract business and industry as well as provide a quality of life for them and their families.
Now, you have been at Wallace for the last. Have you been there through the whole
almost 20 years.
almost 20 years?
Right,
Has it been the same period that Dr. Mitchell was there?
Dr. Mitchell was there for 25 years, so I came after 5 years.
So did he hire you?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, all right. And so just being able to watch the kind of develop, because really Wallace was kind of like
Right.
bottleneck too before
Right.
Dr. Mitchell
Exactly.
came, huh?
Exactly. And I want to take that same approach. Dr. Mitchell, um, I think my leadership style is a lot like his. He's a pretty laid back guy. He's very methodical, um, um, a visionary, and it's been a pleasure to work under him. Now, he kicked my butt a lot, but I think he prepared. He prepared. He's tough.
Oh yeah. I've gotten that from him. He's
Yeah,
pretty. He's
yeah,
he's
yeah.
a, he's a no nonsense
He's a
type
no
guy.
nonsense, and that's how I am.
You
I
know.
mean, but but I'm not gonna kick your door in.
No.
I'm just gonna whip you with a pen and a paper. You know what I
But
mean?
he wasn't born with a spoon in his mouth, silver spoon in his mouth either.
He was not. He was
You
not.
know.
And so he's a very very sharp man. He left Wallace in a better place. And when he got to Wallace, he tells the story a lot that he came in and he the cops didn't have any money,
Mm.
but you know, but like he said, you can cut the grass, you can mop the floor, you can fix the leaks,
Mm.
you can do those things because those are things that should be done anyway.
Right.
And that's the approach he took, and he built it one brick at a time. And so the first building that was built was under his leadership. The previous building was erected in 1990. So the Hank Sanders Technology Center was the first building built under his
Oh,
leadership.
okay. All right.
And
Mm-hmm.
so since after he left, every single building on the campus has been renovated.
Wow.
Every
Yeah,
single
it
building.
looks. It really looks
Right. And
good.
there are three buildings, and then we have a site in Demopolis.
Yeah. Right.
We operate three buildings in Demopolis.
And I often say that if we could mimic
Right.
what has happened on the campus of
Right.
Wallace, citywide,
Right.
you know what I mean, that would be a good start.
Yeah, we want to take that same approach. Fix what you can fix, and put a plan in place to move the city forward. But you can't do it. He couldn't do this alone. He's a hell of a businessman. He knew how to raise money. He knew how to maneuver and solicit funds and secure funds
Hmm.
for moving the city forward. He was big on grant writing. As a matter of fact, I wrote two huge grants for the college.
Mm.
One that incorporated the patient care technician program. That's how we started our patient care technician program.
Mm.
And you utilize grants to not only to buy equipment and resources, but to actually roll employment or income over there, salaries and income.
Mm.
And that saves the college on hard money when you roll people on the soft money.
Right.
So we want to take that same approach in City Hall where you have grants. You can relieve someone and save that money, put that money away, and roll that salary over to an employee who may be carrying out those grant responsibilities for 2 to 3 years.
But you have to have an understanding of the grant process
Exactly.
to do that, huh?
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, realistically, if you are elected, do you have any kind of a timetable in mind as to how long it would take for you to begin to start making the kind of progress you're hoping to make?
Well, the first thing we want to do is put a plan in to clean up the city.
Mm.
And those are things that you can do immediately. We also want to go back and revisit the land bank. I understand the city already has started that process and start, removing some of these eyesores, abandoned homes, with blight.
Mm.
And so these are things that citizens will see firsthand. We also want to start looking into public safety, see how
Mm.
we can do some things to reduce this violent crime we have in the city. One murder is too many. And recently there was a murder, but we're talking about one murder, but we forget about the murder suicide.
Right.
And
Right.
that's a domestic violence issue.
Right.
And so we've got a lot of issues that we have to council, because the city council is fairly new. You're gonna have
Some new members,
some
huh?
new members. I think this is a good time to sit down and go through some training to
Mm-hmm.
understand roles and responsibilities, so everyone's on the same page. We hear it at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to take that approach that we've used for the school board. One good thing I love about the Alabama School Board Association is that we are required to do
Mm-hmm.
training hours, and I understand that Governor Ivey has implemented that same approach to city government and municipalities. And so, just like the city, our school board members, there'll be new school board members, and they'll go through whole board training,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll go through what does a school board member do, processes, procedures, roles, and responsibilities, superintendent board relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and those are the type of trainings that I think we need as a city council, as a mayoral candidate, or a mayor.
Right.
And once we understand our roles and responsibilities, then we start setting priorities and goals. I've often said that if you ask every city council member to write down 5 goals or 5 issues
Mm-hmm.
that we have in Selma, I guarantee you that on everybody's paper, 3 of them will be the same.
Mm-hmm.
Once we've identified those issues, let's put a plan to go ahead and knock some of those goals out. We can't do everything at once,
Right.
but let's get
Prioritize.
prioritize,
Mm-hmm.
get some small wins, show the citizens that we're working together, build some trust, and then continue to knock out the lofty goals.
Mm-hmm. Well, the good news is you have a no, well, three. You got Councilman Clay Carmichael, Councilwoman Janie Thomas, and Councilwoman Christy Thomas.
Right.
They all have been certified
Right.
with the League of Municipalities at different levels.
Right.
So that's three people that already
Exactly.
know
Exactly.
how to get on the same page.
Exactly.
So that should help.
And then you have Michael Johnson and Lisa James, who are both returning.
Right? Yeah. Right.
Right.
Right. So you should. It should be a pretty good mixture this go round. And so now, as chairman of the school board,
Right.
I'm assuming you had the same kind of responsibilities that the city council president
Exactly.
will have.
Exactly.
You know.
And that's why I was expressing to people, being I was in a public leadership position for 8.5 years, and elected as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so you take the heat. During COVID, we were taking the heat. During the tornado, we were dealing with the same issues that the city was dealing with, displaced families. We still had to educate those kids. And so, we've had a death in the high school, and just plethora of complaints. You get complaints about how your football tickets getting too much. You know what I mean? But that role showed me how to govern effectively. The the, the most important role in the school board is just like you say, it's comparable to the president, council, and the mayor. Dr. Scott and I are on the same page.
Mm.
Dr. Williams and I are on the same page. And you have to be able to convince your other board members that this agenda, this is the superintendent's agenda, this is the plan, and this is how we move forward. And the same type of relationship has to be established with the city council president.
So it's like really you're talking about being a salesman.
Right.
Constantly
Exactly.
selling.
Exactly.
Now I know a lot of people don't like President Trump, but he's a salesman 24/7. And he's gotten his agenda across. And so we could all learn from those kinds of scenarios. Is there anything? What is your number one priority? Oh, I think you've already answered that, but is there something that you really want to make sure that you coming out the box you start working on?
Clean up the city.
Mm-hmm.
Clean up the city. I think, um, and um, we've got to create a sense of pride in our community. I was sharing something with a friend of mine. She said, I remember when I was in school, they stressed litter. So we want to teach civic pride to our citizens, and we should start it at a young age. So when school kids see mama throwing out some paper out the car, they say, "Look, mom, you shouldn't do that."
You let your kids do it, but tell the parents,
kids,
yeah.
yeah. So littering is learned behavior, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being honest. We need to work with our city government, our jails, misdemeanors, let people work off fines, and
That's what they do in Montgomery.
that's what they do.
I think every time I go to Montgomery, I see a crew out cleaning up,
Right,
and
right, right.
they're from the Department of Corrections.
Well, even if like people have misdemeanor fines, DUIs, and things like that on weekends,
Right.
they can work off their community service hours
Mm.
and their fines through picking up litter,
Mm.
and that would help with just the littering portion of it.
Right.
And then that wouldn't put such a burden on our public works. I also want to instill community cleanup days where we just drop everything quarterly. Everyone in the wards, do some cleanup days. You bring high school students, middle school students, the youth, and they can work out community. They have community service hours to graduate. This gives them the opportunity to do community services hours. And not only what you're doing, you're cleaning up your community, but you're unifying your community as well. And so we want to do those things. But that's the first order of operation.
That's critical,
Yeah,
huh?
that's critical.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get that, then
Get
we
a
can
facelift.
yeah, facelift.
Mm-hmm.
And clean up downtown. Downtown needs to be the first area we clean. We need to start pushing tourism. We've got to make our welcome center. The first place has got to be. We've got to put some souvenirs, T-shirts. That's the way we can make money.
Right.
The city can make money. So
Right.
we've got to just clean up our act first.
Well, it sometimes it looks like you're not making progress, but there's a lot of work going on downtown, and I think the National Park Service has pushed the date back. I don't know if I think it's the 2026. It's going to be another year or two before they finish because they said they ran into some problems.
Engineering issue.
Yeah, some engineering issues. I'm not surprised. Those
Right.
are
Those are
old
old
buildings.
buildings.
Goodness,
And,
you know.
and people don't understand. I'm a realtor, so
Yeah.
when you knock out a wall, you don't know what you're gonna find. You might have you watch those home improvement shows, and the lady they come back and say, "We got bad news. We got a problem, but your budget just went from 50,000 to 60,000."
Well, I just went through a 6 month, I forget, maybe a little over 6 months last year
Right.
with Tulane University
Okay.
out of New Orleans,
Right.
and it was a real estate and um, commercial development
Oh, wow.
course.
Wow.
So yeah, I got a real good understanding of what
Yeah.
what you have to do to develop an area.
Exactly.
With really, and that's why I'm surprised the Tepper building is still standing, but I didn't know it had steel
Well,
beams
that just shows you that those buildings
built,
were
huh?
built. Were built. So,
Wow.
when they built those buildings back in the day, like I said, as a realtor, I'd rather have a older structured home that I could go in there and kind of
And
remodel
work with
than
this
one
new
of these
stuff.
new
Yeah,
buildings.
because the
Now,
wood is not even the same.
it's just, they're throwing them up like 2, 3 months because
And
these other homes, there's a difference between a cookie cutter home and a solid, well built home
right,
by a builder who was on that house. That's all they did,
right.
Until that house was completed. Now they're doing 5 and 6 at the same time. So
I've got some old property too, and the wood,
oh yeah,
just the wood
just the
alone
wood
is. I mean, they don't even make wood
Right,
like that
right,
anymore. You
right,
know what I mean?
right. And the brick.
And oh my
Yeah,
goodness, I was just thinking about the bricks because I was over at the last time I went to Cracker Barrel. It was in the winter. It was cold, but the bricks were throwing off so much heat. I said, I want to find what kind of bricks y'all using for this fireplace.
Oh yeah, yeah. The fireplace over there, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I said, because some fireplaces, you have to get really close,
right,
to feel the heat. But these guys, man, they had some bricks.
Right.
I could feel the heat was coming from the
Yeah,
bricks.
exactly.
And so I'm still trying to find out what kind of bricks those were for a fireplace. And so, well, with your experience and background with real estate, how do you see positioning Selma in terms of trying to develop it? You know, from a real estate standpoint and property and the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, we do need to provide some affordable housing, and that's how you attract, like we're trying to attract teachers and highly qualified teachers. So, of course, that falls under quality of life,
Mm.
affordable housing,
Mm.
and that's why it's important to tear down some of these structures. And so, now if you tear down, let's say you've got a block of 5 homes that need to be removed. Now you can call developers in because we've got a lot where you can develop 5 to 6 homes.
Mm.
Short term, through developments, 5 or 6 homes. So you can go ahead and attract business and development. And also, I'd like to see we identify some homes to give these first time contractors. I've got a lot of people that ask, do you have any homes that I can go in there and renovate? We've got investors who want to do these things.
Mm.
And, Birmingham just adopted, was a state law, and they're just putting it in implementation, where you can start really putting teeth in the landowners or the
Like tax
landlords,
benefits.
with the landlords who are just absentee landlords.
Oh.
And putting some teeth
Right.
on them, letting some of these contractors or these investors get these properties
Right.
and start to redevelop them and fix them up so we can go back and put them back on the market to sell or to rent. And then that just shows city pride, and that, of course, that brings up the property value.
Right.
If you've got a neighborhood and you've got 4 nice houses, you've got 10,
Dilapidated.
homes,
Yeah.
your property values are decreasing.
Right.
So at least if we eliminate those and start building and some other some new properties or renovating some properties, that increases the property value for everyone.
I see we have people trying to get through to ask questions. Let's take a break first, and then if you don't mind, we can go to the phone line see if we got some questions. Hold on, callers. We're coming to you in just a moment. But first, let's take this break. Oh, we're on Facebook now. The first 5 minutes of Facebook was not on, but I'm also video recording in studio, and so the entire interview will be seen on YouTube and the selmapostherald.com website. We'll be back with more after these messages. Okay.
Get 300.
Make sure you mention your website and any fundraising or telephone numbers, that kind of stuff,
Show you the money. Get big selection, friendly service, and credit. And now get cash.
They've asked me to MC the program Tuesday at in Old Town.
Okay.
And Miss Miss Minnie Sue's
State Love, Central Alabama, and will greatly help us maintain our dedication
5:30.
to our customers.
At the cottage, where they have the Christmas gifts. Yeah, but they just finalized it. They just called me yesterday.
Oh, maybe
That's why they had to make sure they were finalized and everything,
But we
And
work
so,
for you. Peak Insurance offers
call me,
freedom from one insurance agent
so that's
representing
good.
only
Yeah.
one client.
But she
This
just
allows
called
us
me
to bring
yesterday.
competition
Well, she
to
said
the
there was so
table to
many
give you the best
other
service at the
organizations
best price.
sponsoring
I'm
things,
Chase
and they were trying to get on a day not to compete with another one.
Peak Insurance is always on your side, especially when it comes to a claim. Let one
I
of
think it's
Central
ADC.
Alabama's largest
Where are they
customer
doing
service
theirs?
staff show you the
Elwood
benefits
again?
of peak coverage,
At the
peak
convention
service,
center.
Peak Insurance.
Peak Insurance serves all of Central Alabama and is
Are
now
they
the
5:30,
only
6
locally
o'clock?
owned independent
They're
agency
doing-
in the
they're
Selma
doing all
area.
of them.
Peak service.
Are they?
Satisfaction. Peak Insurance.
On Wednesday? Okay. 1490 WHBB. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Andy,
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I just want to remind everyone about the event tomorrow at the Independence Bridge at 11 a.m. United in Honor, a line
We're not 11.
remembrance. And that's tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. at the Independence Bridge.
Did you get the singer you were looking for?
2.
Okay, today I've got in the studio, we have Mr. Johnny Skip Moss the third, candidate for mayor. The runoff is going to be on the 23rd, so he's our in studio guest this morning.
Oh, okay, then. I just want to make that announcement and hope to see the whole city of Selma at the Fully Bridge tomorrow morning.
Yes, sir. Okay, we'll see you then. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
Good morning, Viewpoint. Benjamin, how are you?
Councilwoman Angela Benjamin. Now I don't know if you got your radio tuned in or not, but we got Mr. Johnny Skip Moss as our guest this morning.
Oh my God, I just keep on calling me and said, no, I don't have my radio on. Wait, I gotta get a radio for home so I can have my radio on. I turn you on when I get in the car.
I know.
Yeah, I think we all kind of we understand that.
Okay, so I have a quick announcement in that case. Good morning, first of all, to your candidate, Skip Moss.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Okay, that's the way to do it. I have an announcement really, and this is a friendly reminder actually. Because this conference has popped in our first course per year. This is the inaugural pop-in series. So the first one is pop-in for the top of y'all. So we're cutting two.
What is it called?
It's a pop-in. We're having a pop-in. And the first one is in your email, Randy.
Yeah, okay. And what's the date and the time?
Okay, so
Yeah.
today is today, so this is just a friendly reminder to the public. Have lunch with us or have dinner with us is a very, very informal and casual chatting too. Or you just walk around to our different departments and find out who we are and what we do. And we'll have four every year. This is the first of our inaugural. We'll have four every year so that you can either stop in the room and chat with some foot soldiers. We have a kids classroom. We have out of our departments that are set up so you can ask questions. And a lot of people see us really and they just really don't know who we are and what we do. So the first in this particular series is who we are and what we do.
Now this is going to be the Foot Soldiers Park administrative officers.
Yes, thank you, Randy. And the administration is right next door to the Flex. And lunch period is 11:30 to 1:30. And then when you get our brother, 5:15 to 7:15, we're trying to accommodate two different ways of people. 11:30 to 1:30 and 5:15 to 7:15. We know you're just getting off work or just getting off of lunch. So we'll have some refreshments to hold you down while you come in and mingle with us, find out who we are and what we do. So pop-in day, the public is invited to attend.
Okay, well that sounds like a winner. I'll pop my head in too at some point.
No, Randy.
Yeah, this is a busy day for me, but I'll make room somehow.
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you there. Mr. Martin, we look forward to seeing you there. I don't know.
I'll be there at 11:30. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you so much. All right. Well, our guest this morning is Mr. Johnny Skip Moss the third. How's your father and mother doing?
They're doing well. They're doing well. So I heard the foot of the bridge for 9/11. So tomorrow's my birthday actually.
Oh no, really?
9/11.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. That was a tough one.
How do you do that?
Man,
Wow.
that was tough. I thought I was just gonna have a nice day.
Wow.
On my birthday.
Wow.
Work.
Oh, you remember that day,
I
huh?
remember that day.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, yeah,
That
so
was
do
tough.
I.
Yeah,
But I think you're the first person I've met whose birthday is actually on the 11th.
Right.
Now that's something.
Right.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. Getting into let's get into the nuts and bolts of some of these issues.
Right.
I don't know if you have an issue on the appointment powers. Have you given that any thought?
I'm not gonna go in there trying to strong arm the council on appointment powers. I think after you build trust, after you show that you can work collaboratively and the way you think and the way you move, I think those powers will come back to the mayor. But we've got enough issues to tackle once we get in there. I'm not going to be fighting about it.
That's not one of your main things.
That's
You're
not
not. Well, and my thing is if you're a good administrator and a good manager,
right.
it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
You know, if the police chief is not doing his job,
Right.
and you can document it,
Right.
and you've given him or her all the warnings that they need, and they haven't made a correction,
Right.
then the council is there to help you get to have your back.
Exactly.
You know, and so that tug of war, that tug of war.
And sometimes you don't want that decision.
I wouldn't want it on me.
Solely on yourself. So
no.
You want to share a vision, and you bring a team together as you hire a person, hire police people, hire a fire chief. And what I do, Val, is that I will never publicly, um, HR. I will handle HR and personnel
In a private manner.
the way they should be handled.
Well, isn't that the whole concept behind closed door meetings?
And that's to protect the city and to protect that employee as well.
And the reputation and good name of the employee. Well, and I would think that under Melton, his police chief, he had the appointment powers, and look what happened to his police chief. And then when the mayor put the fire chief, the temporary interim fire chief, look what happened to him. But if I'm the one making the decision, all that's under my watch, falls on me. But the council now, when the council is, the blame can go around. As well as success.
Exactly. So that's not something that I'm gonna go in there and demand offhand.
Now let me ask you another question. We're in an 80% black city, and I don't know if those numbers hold up in the county as well. But what kind of relationship do you or will you have with your white constituents?
Right. And I've shared this fact. People they have a misconception that I'm gonna be one-sided mayor for the white community and not the black community. I'm gonna be a mayor for the entire community, and that's why I preach unity and togetherness, rebuilding Selma together. That's the only way we're gonna move the city forward. And so there'll be shared resources. I'm gonna be the same mayor for Ward 8 as I am for Ward 1. Different wards have different needs, and so we want to go in there and evaluate and assess and provide the deliverables, that for each ward equity. And that's how I operate. That's how I'll govern, and to make sure that everyone is getting a fair.
It's an elephant in the room, and there was a time when people were saying, well, Selma can never move forward until we get a white mayor, that kind of talk. But the flip side to that, though, is, can you have any true development without the white community? How are you going to exclude a whole, group of people and say we're making progress?
It's got to be fair and
equitable.
And that's why we got to bring everyone to the table, so that we can put a clear plan in place to move the city forward. That's what we've got to do.
Do you plan to have some involvement in that planning process from each community?
We'll have a transition team. But I want to go back to the ward meetings, attending ward meetings with every council member, having the same agenda, asking the same questions, creating the same surveys, and we walk in so we can show, for one, it shows unity. Two, it identifies the needs of those residents in that ward, and then we go back and we'll have whiteboard, Ward 8, Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3, Ward 5, and then we assess it and put a strategic plan in place.
Okay. All right. Viewpoint, you're on the air, caller. Turn your radio down just a little bit.
Because I couldn't hear. Okay. Mr. Ross, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to everyone, as a matter of fact. I have a question as it relates to something that maybe no one else has looked at. But I'm always concerned about the military people, our veterans, coming back home and they join the organization here whereby they are often called for assignments away. I know Mr. Randolph took several assignments while I was serving on the council. But then out at the National Guard Armory, where they get a chance to meet and become build up their friendships and relationships relationships or whatever, I'm finding we're having more and more elected officials who are in that.
So what is the question? We've got limited time.
Okay, I heard it to set it up, Randy. I had to set it up. I know I'm going to get to it. So I'm wondering, Chick Davis, our police officer, I think he's one of the National Guards, and you're our police chief or whatever. But anyway, I would like for someone to look into that scenario because I think that has created a very serious issue, particularly in the county where we had the probate judge who was and several other leaders throughout our community. There has been a problem that's caused rift in this community, and I would like to know, do you have a position on that, or will that give you something to think about, some of the areas that we need to look into and see that it's not a conflict of interest? Thank you.
So, so I guess your question was, uh, employees that
Or in the National
or in the
Guard,
National Guard.
but I don't know if you really have any choice
You really,
because of the federal laws.
yeah, federal law.
Yeah. If you're in the
If
National
they
Guard,
call, they
that
just
takes
call.
priority, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, and in the hiring process, you can't legally,
Discriminate?
discriminate against someone in that regard.
The legal environment,
Yeah,
everything has
yeah,
changed.
exactly.
You've got the military, you've got the LGBTQ plus
Right.
issues, you got racial issues.
Right.
Boy,
Yeah,
it's hard
that's
now.
tough.
Yeah, that's really tough. Now, what about now you've got still the mayor doesn't have the council has the appointment powers for the police chief, the fire chief, and I believe and the city treasurer or finance. Yeah, I know it's finance, right? And there's one other one too.
Maybe HR.
Yeah, I believe maybe HR. But at the end of the day, you still have about 15 or 16 department heads that you'd be the mayor's responsible for. So how do you handle that?
Well, that there was this another misconception that I would go in there and fire everyone, but you can't fire everyone in the organization. But what you can do is go in there and establish clear goals and expectations, and that's what we would do with all of our directors. Um, Provide a lunch and learn where we go with every department and ask questions.
Now you know a lot of these people already, huh?
I do, but I don't know them in a professional capacity.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So this
it's a learning curve,
huh? There's difference in knowing someone
that's
Walmart
hard. Yeah.
and then knowing how they
work.
Yeah. And so just setting clear expectations, and then we decide if they it might be a mutual decision. They decide they don't want to work under my leadership, or we decide we need to move in another direction, but everyone will be given a fair chance.
The bottom line is fairness, huh?
Fairness.
Now the water department, that's a real problem. That's a can of worms, huh?
And it operates separately from the city, but the mayor, of course, is the superintendent, and of course they've got they operate. I mean, let me just say this: that they've got great people that work down there. I just think there might be some room for
improvement, huh?
I don't want to say improvement, but maybe evaluating some of the decisions that were recently made. But that's something I want to get in there and work with.
And find out what's going on. Yeah, I've heard that we have a problem in that department because there's a lack of certified technicians also, and in order to become certified, I'm told you have to be willing to take classes after you get off work.
Well, and that's interesting because the college now, there's a skills for success program that the state of Alabama has adopted. ACC is our community college system, and water treatment certification is one of those. We have asphalt road. So what I want to do is incorporate a pipeline that we can train our employees and citizens. Just think if we had 10 public works employees who were trained in asphalt rolling. Now we could identify. Now we could start paving our own streets.
Look, I mentioned I mentioned to the last administration, they came out with a new asphalt machine
Right,
that takes the asphalt and reuses it, and then you can resurface,
right,
and it's cheaper.
right, right,
And but I was told that they thought it was too expensive.
right.
And for me, I guess from an entrepreneurial standpoint, to me, it's an opportunity. If, like you said, if you got tens of people that can operate
Right.
a street cleaner,
Right.
look at all these cities around here that need help with asphalt, with laying that asphalt down.
Well,
That's a profit center.
We could repair our own
On
streets.
streets, so that'd be a good start,
That'd
huh?
be a good
And
start.
I think Marion is doing that.
Right,
How in the
right.
world is Marion?
Right.
How did they do?
And this training is free.
Mm,
And what I want to do, and you can put that into the pay structure, where if you, Randy, you go out and you get certified in asphalt roller, or you go get that certified in
your
heavy
pay goes
equipment,
up.
then you get an increase in pay.
Mm.
And so we could be paving our own streets.
And see some of that though. Again, it comes back on the citizens. If you've got people working in the departments that don't want to do that extra time to get
Right,
certified,
right.
but you can't have it both ways.
Well, you can
You know.
you can call it professional development, and what it does is you do the online work. So it's an online.
It's online too.
Well, it's the online theory work, and then on weekends you do the actual field work.
Oh.
So you do the hands-on
Oh, you
training.
can't beat that.
You can't beat that.
Wow.
And so we've got to, and that's what I shared with someone. I shared a post yesterday about the pipeline of prosperity.
Mm.
These are things that Dr. Griffin, the new president, Dr. Griffin and I are not only colleagues, but we're friends.
Right.
And so we just had a conversation about this yesterday. And so we're already putting these things in place.
Well, she's been doing a lot of the grunt work behind the scenes.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't know that.
Exactly. But this is not a relationship that has to be established or be built. This is a relationship that's already there, and we've already talked about these things.
Mm.
And so you're talking 4 months down the line, we're going to start implementing these programs, getting our employees trained, and that's something. Look, I'm telling you, that would change everything. We could start paving our own streets.
Right.
Paving our own
Yeah,
streets.
see, that's what I'm talking about.
Streets.
Yeah.
And so that's
and it will be cheaper also,
It will
huh?
be cheaper also.
Viewpoint, you're on the air. Good morning. How are you?
I'm out of state and I pop in and pop out. What did you get to? Let me ask.
Oh, okay. We've got Johnny Skip Moss III, candidate for mayor. He's made it to the runoffs, and he's the leading candidate.
Well, how you doing, Skip?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'll say this, because Skip, I don't know you. I know of you.
Right.
I know you was the president of City School Board.
Right. Yes, sir.
President of there. Besides that, I don't know you. I was calling to have a conversation with Randy about this past election, because me and him catch up every so often.
Okay.
But nevertheless, Randy, I was surprised.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were. I was surprised. I was surprised too in terms of with Mr. Moss and Mr. Roper, because I thought Mayor Perkins would actually be the lead I knew it would be a runoff, but I thought it would be Mayor Perkins that would be the lead, but instead it's Mr. Moss.
Well, if you look at the previous election, Mayor Perkins never, I may be mistaken, but as my recollection is thinking back, he has never led in the primary. He always took the lead in the runoff. I think it was one time he just won right out with all the candidates. But if I'm not mistaken, I may be wrong, but I think he have always trailed in the primary, and when it came up to the runoff, he took off, because a lot of the candidates, they were like, for example, Meyer and Dario, his second term he ran, tended to go to, how can I say this? It's kind of weird, because my thing, I try not to be disrespectful, but the white
and what ended up tending to happen. And I think what, Skip, I'm just going to be honest, what you're going to have to do is convince a lot of the black folks in Selma you are their guy, because you got a stereotype over your head that you are the white man candidate. And that's going to be a hard obstacle to turn around the way of people thinking within the last 2 weeks.
We just got finished talking about the elephant in the room. Sure did.
Yeah, so your big problem going to be is convincing the Mayor Perkins people, because my thing is, you don't get majority of those people, Roper's going to be a walk-in in that office. Because my thing is that the scary part is now the people in Selma have did something even more. They have turned people off even more now, and that is they put an ad in the paper, and I saw it. So, it comes on. I get Selma stuff on my phone where they try to link Roper and Mayor Perkins together, and then he gave Roper an award. I don't think that the people who posted that understand what they just did. Because what they did was they were spotlighting you like you're the candidate of their choice, and what they did is turn a lot of black voters off. Fortunately, I'm not a voter in Dallas County anymore because I live in Jackson, Tennessee. So, since you're here, the question is, can you tell the people or me, what have you have done in the past 4 years besides being a city school? What have you did in the community? Because as Randy knows as well, I go back way to when Bob ran the first time, and when April and Albright was here, ran for the Freedom Party, and now with the last couple of elections, I've always been involved. Can you tell me what are you going to do to convince us that you're not a pick candidate, and how are you going to be transparent for everybody? Because that's my thing is, you done had Barry that got in there, and at the end, guess what he did? He revealed that he was picked, but he's not a bald man. How can you convince us that you have been picked, but you're not a bald man?
Let's give him time to answer the question. Go ahead.
But first of all, respectfully, I wasn't picked. And I laid that story out the other day on my podcast. I'm actually, I had no incentive to run for mayor. I wasn't going to run for mayor. I was actually going to retire and sell real estate. And I got to this point as a realtor because I was working, trying to identify homes and properties for investors. I actually started maybe thinking about flipping some homes or doing some renovations myself. And I started driving the city, and I saw the despair in the neighborhoods, not in Ward 1 and 2, but in Ward 6, in Wards 8. And my heart, I cried about the situation, seeing some of the families, how they were living. And so January, I usually take January off to fast and let your body, regroup as we move into the next year. So I took January off, I fasted, and I prayed. No one knew my decision. I didn't tell my wife. I didn't tell my best friend. I didn't want to be talked into it, and I didn't want to be talked out of it. I wanted to hear from God. And so the end of January, I decided I was going to run for mayor. And so I wasn't picked. I wasn't coerced. I wasn't bought. This was my decision, and it was my decision that I made through fasting and through prayer. Um, and as far as what I've done, I've never been a person to brag about, my accomplishments. I've always been involved in youth, through coaching, through rec center, through teaching, through mentoring, and it's enlightening to see. For instance, my son played on the travel ball baseball team. I'm coaching his team with two young men that I taught and I raised and I coached through football. We're coaching our kids together. Just yesterday or just the other day, a new family moved into the home across the street, and my son, he was the only boy on the street, so the only kid besides another little kid, and he was out there playing football with a kid, and I walk out, and he said, Coach, and I said, who are you? He said, I'm Rafi. He said, you remember you coached me and Jack when I was 7 years old.
Mm.
And so I've been in this community, doing the things behind the scenes. I'm not one that has to go on Facebook when you help someone. I've helped multiple families through first time home buying, uh, buying properties as a realtor. I've helped single moms. And when you're a single mom or a first time home buyer, there's a process. You got to get them through the financial acumen. You got to teach them the finances. There's a huge hurdle to leap over to get to that process. I've served as the Chamber of Commerce president. I've served as United Way on the United Way board on the food bank. I'm currently on the Bond Regional Medical Director Regional Board of Directors, and so I've been serving this community for almost 30 years, and without an ego, without fanfare, and I'm not gonna apologize for a gift to be able to work across all sides. I've built relationships in the state of Alabama. I've built relationships nationally. I have people calling right now waiting to come to Selma, if elected, to start investing in Selma today. I have a meeting next week with T-Mobile. We're on the precipice of moving the city forward. And so I'm not going to apologize. It's a gift. It's a God-given gift to be able to connect people and bring people together. And my parents I grew up on Range Street. I call it Range Street. It's Marie Foster now. My parents still live in that community. I grew up in the hood. So I went away. I was educated and I moved back home to help move Selma forward. And I've been doing it for 30 years and I want to continue to do it as a mayor.
Okay, we're running out of time, Eric. Let me let you make your closing question or remark, and we still got some folks trying to get through.
Say this real quick and wrap it up. All due respect, Moss. When your parents lived and back when your parents, I know your family.
Right.
My grandfather was never Moss. They supposed to be distant relatives.
Right.
Your parents, I know exactly where they stay at. I know your brother Jarvis.
Right.
So my thing is, when your family bought that home in their home, it was not the hill. So all due respect, that's not the hill where your parents stay at. But I will say this right here. You have to, if elected, you have to be able to get out there and do more. Being on these boards, all great and dandy. But my thing is, as someone who have been an advocate for Selma, and will always be an advocate for Selma, all due respect, I haven't seen you in the trenches. And that's all I'm saying. We got to get out there.
What's your definition of the trenches? I'm not following that.
When crime happened, my thing is, for example, when this crime was going on, the road standards and different advocates that's out there working, I haven't seen you out there. My thing is, only time that I started to begin to see you out there, it was Papa Crumb brought you to a forum that was done that something that road standards and all of these leadership was in town. All due respect. So I've been out there, and my thing is, I'm not endorsing about it. I'm saying, hey, if you get elected, please, you got to be seen. You got to be seen.
Oh, well, look, thank you for calling. We're out of time, but you can also visit us on the selmapostherald.com website. Viewpoint. We're going to go over this morning. Viewpoint, you're on the air. If you got a few minutes. Viewpoint, go ahead.
I want to ask a question. How do you plan to this candidate? How do you plan on getting highly qualified people in the area? What did you do while you were working with the people who superintendents should be second when they were paid in education. We need people who are thoughtful about the education of our children and have to carry them forward to do the things that are needed in education. And you got that question.
Okay, thank you. Excuse me. Thank you for calling. Okay, I think she's trying to say. It sounds like she's asking if you are willing to help develop people who don't necessarily have the credentials they need, who are already in office, or are you planning on keeping folks that are qualified? I think her concern sounds like it's more about having qualified people in these positions
Right,
to get the job done.
right. Again, that goes back to, assessing, their work. I mean, I'm not big on degrees and titles. We just want to get the work done.
Right.
And
Well, you talked about professional development
And
also.
yeah, professional development. We want to put an evaluation process to make sure that all of our employees are being evaluated. I'd like to, revisit the salary structure, to put a salary matrix in place, because again, you don't want to just keep throwing money at raises. What you want to do is you bring my goal is, let's say for instance someone has been in public works for 10 years, they should be making more money than someone that started 10 minutes ago. And there should be step increases. Therefore, you're not just every 2 years saying we're gonna give them a $2 raise, we're gonna give them a $2 raise. If that man has been there 10, 20 years, he deserves to be making more money. That way you retain employees and you can actually recruit employees because you have a process that creates a step raise. So we want to, my understanding that the city, that there was a salary matrix number
Auburn.
Auburn.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you
Right,
about. I was wondering the same
right.
thing, and I'm wondering where's the bottom at? Where are the people on with the bottom salaries?
I understand it just they never put in place, and that was because of council mayoral conflict. And so we want to revisit that and perhaps put that in place. If the work's been done, we just got to work together to implement that salary matrix, to bring our those citizens up, especially some of the professional people and then some of the maintenance people, and some of the people.
Put them on par with other cities our size.
Other cities our size, and therefore you're able to attract more qualified
To compete, be more competitive, huh? Yeah, because I understand the police department is now more competitive, and because really it's going to be hard to beat living in a Selma, Alabama in 2025. All you got to do is look at Chicago, in New York, and even Birmingham. We don't have to let this thing get out of control like it is in some of them cities. Viewpoint, you're on the air.
And Mayor Morris, and good morning, Randy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Listen, it's kind of sad that, every time we get somebody that calls in from out of town that does not live here, they always have to be negative or whatever toward a guest or toward Selma. I've been knowing Mr. Moss all my life, and in every way good being is considered the hood or whatever it is. And, mainly if somebody is supporting another candidate, you should not be calling in trying to bash a candidate that has already believed in the way. And also, Randy, right, I know we still may have a black white issue, but the key is right now is that we just need to do and put in the best candidate possible that can bring the race together. And I think that's what Mr. Moss was talking about on his platform. Just bringing people together and going in and pushing it to Selma forward. And I just want Mayor Moss, we're going to go in and claim this victory right now. I just want to just go ahead and say right now, to talk about his plans about bringing this city forward and bringing this city together. Because his plans did a lot for helping, as a matter of fact, his father did a lot for helping people in their projects to better themselves or whatever. So I don't know why somebody from out of town that does not live in the car and just try to bash him like that.
if you're supporting another candidate, that's great. But then again, you should be calling and trying to find out what boss is going to do or whatever. And I think he did a wonderful job on his podcast last night or whatever, So let's go ahead and put in the audience again, Mr. Moss. What you plan on doing to bring the citizens together and moving this city forward and bring the race together, please?
Thank you. Thank you for calling. And go ahead if you would.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
certainly. And that's the caller's prerogative. And different people have different leadership styles, and different people. I'm not an activist. I mean, so you can be in the trenches in the boardroom as well. And so.
Well, I don't know if that particular activist
Yeah,
I know you don't want to go there, but
I understand. I understand. But what I'm trying to say is you can be in the trenches. You can be in the trenches in the boardroom. You can be in the trenches in the classroom. You can be in the trenches in the office.
well, I've got to put a pin there because we need to, and this is part of the problem that Selma has had in terms of educating our voting age population about, as you said, there's a lot of ways to serve,
Right.
and you can't serving is not always out in the street with a sign,
Right.
laying out in the street and holding traffic up, trying to make a point, because you're not affecting policy. The problem that they're having in Chicago and Baltimore and all these other cities that have problems with crime, it boils down to bad policy. And you can't make policy in the street. Thurgood Marshall said you got to be able to change the law, or you need to be in a position in government where you not just have a voice, or you got to be in the boardroom.
Right. Exactly.
And start making decisions that impact the people all, from the top to the bottom.
Right.
And we need to educate people about that process.
Right. And quite honestly, you have to have resources.
Well, that's what the big problem for us is going to be, the financial resources.
You have the financial resources and crime. When people don't have opportunity, they resort to crime.
It's a factor.
It's a factor. And so my plan is to improve the quality of life for citizens through education, through training, through jobs. When a man has to go to work in the morning, he goes home and he goes to sleep.
You don't have time.
You don't have time to be hanging
You don't even
out.
have time to fight with your wife, huh?
Right, exactly. You don't have time to be up all night shooting.
Yeah, I know that's right.
So
Well, no, you don't have to shoot anymore. The guy in North Carolina used a knife.
Oh yeah, exactly.
He didn't even use a gun.
Exactly.
Mm.
So we've got to change the mindset of our people, and just because my leadership style is different, that doesn't mean it's not effective.
That's the question.
We want to bring effective solutions based decisions to the city so that we can move our city forward. We can't get caught up in all this. It's always what have you done? I'm doing the work. You don't know how many hours I spend as school board president. I've been doing this for 8.5 years. The citizens voted me back in, so apparently I was doing something right. And so I go to bed knowing that we're making these decisions. We put the system in a better place than we found them. We're financially, we have no long-term indebtedness. When we took over that system, the system was under state intervention or improper. We had improper employees doing some things that we won't get into. There were some financial issues. Um, we took over the system as a board, and we worked together to put it in a better place. We're building a $20 million new school. We've closed schools because we had to right size our school system. We're working hard to attract highly qualified educators. And so we've done this without fanfare. We've just gone about our business and we move our system forward. You can go to Alabama Association of School Board. We're one of the top school boards as far as training, knowledge, and moving our system forward. And we're going to get there. We're going to get to a B this year because we have a bright new superintendent. Dr. Scott's been in here. He's a sharp man, and he understands people. He understands processes and policies. and he's kind of a laid back guy.
But he handles himself
But
well.
he handles himself
Mhm.
well, very sharp, very respected.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think what's happening in Selma is that we're so used to the divisiveness,
We're
the
used to
conflict.
whoever's the loudest in the room
Right,
is the
right,
one who gets the
right,
attention
right,
and
right.
the perception that they're getting something done, and they're
Exactly.
usually not getting anything done.
Anything done. And so we've tried that style of leadership forever. And so I think now it's time to try level-headed leadership that operates um, controlled and not under chaos. That wants to bring our system, our city together, unify our city, unify our council, unify our government to move our city forward. And that's what Selma deserves.
We're going to take one more call, take a commercial break, and then let Mr. Moss start wrapping up. We've gone over, which is, if it, I don't know what your time is like, but I want to make sure you have the opportunity to get it out. This doesn't happen every
Oh
day,
yeah, I know. Yeah.
Viewpoint, go ahead.
Maybe you didn't understand the answer to my question.
What was your question? He didn't quite fully, and neither did I fully understand what your question is.
Tell me, what did you do to get the highly qualified people in the place in the teaching department while you were there? And why not reach and teach in education and maintain those people, um, the good ones with
You
self-government
got it.
Yeah.
that we have in place instead of allowing them or making them go to other places and get jobs that were as good or better than we have here.
Mm-hmm.
Funny you say education, because it seems like you know a lot about this, and I'm sure you do because you have been trained to do education a lot more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay. He's going to answer. Hold on. Let him answer. Let him answer.
What I'm hearing her question was retaining highly qualified teachers, and
And what did you do?
yeah. So what's happening? And Dr. Mackey mentioned this earlier this year. We had more teachers retire in the state of Alabama this year than any other year. Um, Teachers are being burned out because there's so much on our teachers. Now, before they could just teach a class. Now they're the mother, the daddy, social worker, the
The police,
the police,
the judge, everything.
and it just drains our teachers.
Mm.
And so, and quite frankly, there are not enough educators coming out of schools, and so the pot is slim picking.
Mm.
And because of the lack of affordable housing, the lack of quality of life, recreation, food, restaurants in Selma, crime. So we're competing with
What time?
companies or cities around us, Montgomery, Prattville, Birmingham,
No problem.
for the same group of teachers, but the quality of life comes into play, and so that's what happens.
That's the bottom line. And I hear you
Right.
got people the younger teachers want to be able to go to sit down in a nice restaurant or have good entertainment or quality. Montgomery seems to be ideal for that. In Prattville more so than we in Wetumpka, So we've got to get there. Did he answer your question, ma'am?
Why not work towards making sure that we have the people that we need in the teaching department in education? Our children need the help.
Well, and that's what we're doing. We're doing a better job of recruiting. We're going to, Alabama State, AUM, and campuses that are in close proximity to us to get those, those students in for apprenticeships and their student teaching, and in hopes that they will stay with us. And so we're doing a better job of going out there trying to recruit a highly qualified teachers. But it's just tough. The playing field is not fair. It's just tough because we're all trying to target this small group of educators, very small group.
Everybody after the same folk, huh?
Yeah, because no one wants to go into education anymore.
Yeah. Thank you for calling, ma'am. We got to get ready to get out of here. Let me take this break, and when we come back, we're going to give Mr. Moss an opportunity to wrap up and say anything he'd like to say to our audience. And we'll be back with more right after these messages.
Man, who was that guy that called me?
Eric, is Eric's last name Bird? Not Bird.
Eric Bird lives here.
No, Eric. You know him, cause his Rose, his brother went missing, and he had, he had. Remember, he's still on Facebook. And he had worked with Bob Armstrong. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They think, man, they think you just, man, you out there raising sign. You ain't.
Well, you mentioned it earlier. You are, you hit when you start talking about it's hard to please everybody. And but the good news is, instead of arguing, you let people.
But see, I'm not out there. Every time I do something, I don't post it.
Right. Right.
I ain't just stopping here 5 years ago. Start doing stuff. You know what I mean? So I can go to Walmart and say, "Hey, boss."
Yeah, no, I got you.
Talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's a difference.
Yo, I hear you. I hear you. Yes, sir.
And then he talked about, when you ran
Rose.
through the hood. It wasn't the hood. What a white folks was that?
Well, it's been the hood since I've known it.
We called it the hood.
How long has Laney's been over there? 70 years? It's been the hood since before Laney's, huh?
All black. It's always been black. So he didn't know.
Well, maybe it wasn't as bad in terms of.
But no part of Selma was as bad.
No, that's true.
We didn't have no shooting
No,
around here like this.
not like
No
like
matter
this.
where you live, it wasn't bad.
No, you can still leave your door open.
Right. DWC wasn't bad.
No, not like it is now. Yes, no.
So yeah, he just I figured that's what it was. That's not me.
Well, and that goes back to your style. Like you said, everybody has a different style of leadership. People are different, and we've gotten used to that loud.
And conflict.
And really, to me, it mirrors ignorance.
It does.
That's the thing, and that's what's got us where we are. Right. So we think being ignorant is the way to get out the trap. Right. That's no good. Mm-hmm. 1490 WHBV. We've gone over this morning, and our guest this morning has been Mr. Johnny Skip Moss III, who is running for mayor. He's made it to the runoff. He's the leading candidate from the runoff, and we want to give you an opportunity to say whatever you'd like to say to our audience this morning.
Well, Randy, I'm not leading anymore. We're neck and neck now. So we start from scratch. So 0-0. So we need everyone to go out and vote. This turnout was very low. No matter who your candidate choice is, we need everyone to go out and vote because there are a lot of city council
still out there, huh? Yeah.
Board members, and so, but I just want to thank the citizens of Selma for just allowing me to be in this situation, to be in this runoff, and thank you for those who voted for me. I hope that those who didn't can come back out and vote and support me. I want the best for Selma. I'm a candidate that's been in public leadership for the last 8.5 years. So I think it's important for the citizens to understand you never know how a person will behave or act or govern in a public elected position if they've never done it before. So you can see my leadership style. You can see the results. We made some mistakes, of course, but we self-corrected some mistakes, and I feel that we're leaving the Selma City School Board or system in a better place than we found it. and we found it under state intervention, under financial issues that were going on within our system. I'm a man of integrity, a man of without an ego. I believe in collaboration over chaos and control. I believe in working together for a unified front to rebuild Selma together. So I humbly ask you on September the 23rd to cast your vote for Johnny Skip Moss, for mayor of Selma, and we will rebuild Selma together.
You got a website, telephone number?
Website, mossformayor.com. You can go on the website and follow me on Facebook as well, mossformayor.com. Therefore, if you want to provide a little
financial
contribution, people don't understand that campaigns
it costs.
It costs.
Yes, sir. I understand. Yes, sir.
But I've really enjoyed the process. I've enjoyed meeting new people, talking, and one thing I've learned that through this process that we all really want the same thing. We all want a clean city. We want a safe city. We want a city that provides some recreational activities, a city that provides opportunities. And so, no matter if you're on the Ward 8 or Ward 1, all citizens want and deserve those things. And so, we're going to fight for those opportunities. We're going to fight for a safe city. We're going to fight for a clean city. But we cannot do it unless we do it together. I vow to go to attend council meetings, to attend work sessions. I want to be on the front line with the city council president, the city council members, our personnel, all of the great employees that work for Selma, the Selma Waterworks, Selma the city government employees, and we're going to have to do this together. We're going to build a plan and move the city forward together in a unified fashion.
Well, thank you for sharing your platform with us and your time this morning. You know, and so and I'm with you too. We need to make sure, regardless of who you support as a candidate, we need to get out and vote. But this is Selma, Alabama.
Exactly.
You know, the birthplace of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and if nowhere else, we need to have a higher turnout.
Right. Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, Mr. Moss, it's always a pleasure.
Well, I appreciate it, Randy.
Yes, sir. And we'll see you the next time.
I have to go knock on some doors.
Yeah. Okay. And I'll see you tomorrow morning, the good Lord willing. Stay tuned for Fox News, already in progress after the weather.
That was good.
Yeah, but that was a good.
Yeah, they were trying to beat you.
Well, that goes with the territory.
Oh yeah.